Hi and welcome to this Aries New Moon rundown. This is going to be something that I'm doing for the first time. This is an amazing new moon today to manifest and initiate something for the first time and start a new chapter in your life. I'm doing something quite subtle. I'm going to do a get ready with me while I talk about the Aries new moon. I'm also going to pull a tarot card for the collective energy around now. As well as that, I will talk you guys through where this moon is falling in your own birth chart, house by house, as per your rising sign. I use whole sign houses for the purposes of this video. And then I will just talk about how I particularly manifest and do a new moon ritual, kind of like a small step by step. I will timestamp all of this though, so just tune in where you're most interested. This is a cuddly beauty elixir. I just spray this on my face. I've never done something like this before, but you know what? In the spirit of this pioneering Aries new moon, like clearly it went right into my mouth, but I sprayed it right into my mouth. That feels so good. So I am an Aries Mercury, Aries Venus. They are my Aries credentials. I have Venus conjunct my descendant in my Aries 7th house. So my Aries 7th house, that's where this new moon is falling for me. But let's get into the collective energies first of all for this Aries new moon. So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and today basically is the first day of the astrological new year, March 31st. Yesterday, March 30th, we had the Vernal Equinox. Vernal, I believe, is a Latin derivative, and I think the meaning is around newness and freshness and initiation. So with Aries being the first sign of the zodiac, and we're just past that Vernal Equinox where day and night are of equal measure, we're really seeing themes in the collective stirring up, like planting seeds of growth, but also balance and everything just being at the right time to begin now. So some of the technical details: Aries new moon is falling at 0 degrees of Aries. We have the sun there in Aries. We also have Mercury transiting Aries now, as well as Jupiter, planet of expansion and good fortune. That's why I think that this is such an important new moon for us to manifest under today. Because it has lucky Jupiter there, as well as that Chiron, the wounded healer. Okay, so right now I'm just going to put on some moisturizer. This is an Environ. My facialist gave it to me, but I'm pretty sure you can get it in certain stores too. And I don't really do a whole lot with my skincare. I mean, I try to keep it kind of simple. The best thing that I have found that I've done is give up smoking, which has, I feel like that's what the breakout here on my cheeks are. The cheeks on your face being connected to the lung organ. If you run or you do any exercise, sometimes you can get like a flushed face because of the lungs being connected in that way. And then, there was a transit that happened for me recently, transiting Saturn in Aquarius. Remember we just had Saturn move into Pisces from Aquarius? Well, while Saturn was transiting Aquarius, it made a square, challenging aspect to my natal Pluto. I feel like a lot of you guys went through that transit, right? So anybody with Pluto in Scorpio from like around 15 degrees onwards, you've been just experiencing Saturn transit there by square. So that's a really powerful aspect for people to figure out addictions or toxins that they're dependent on. And it doesn't necessarily have to be smoking like me, but it could be anything. It was a time like that recently has passed over the last couple of years where we've collectively been able to identify things that we are not needed in our lives anymore. It could be anything. It could be certain behavioral cycles. It could be like addictions to substances, like I gave up smoking, electronic cigarettes, and smoking any kind of cigarettes, so it's been challenging, but it was the transit that gave me the strength to do that. As well as that, Saturn has just moved into my 6th house of health as it moved into Pisces. I'm trying to turn a corner on wellness overall. But I don't know if any of you guys noticed that you've been recently figuring out things that are not serving you anymore and really having the strength to purge. But let's get back to this Aries new moon, shall we? We have that big lineup of planets in Aries at the moment. So this is the archetypal Aries warrior energy. I'm going to now use some of my Bare Minerals. This is what I use as a foundation. It's Bare Minerals Original Foundation. It's a powder more so. I find that if I use full coverage foundation, it just can block my skin up. I'm also like, I'm terrible. Like I often don't take my makeup off. I mean, if I'm wearing a lot of eye makeup, I will, but I'm terrible. Like I said, I won't even try and excuse myself for that. So I'm just trying to find my makeup brush. Oh, here it is. So yeah, like we've got this warrior energy with Aries, and Mars rules Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, so by nature it's cardinal, it's fiery. So this is going to invoke images such as the go-getter, the entrepreneur, the pioneer, the sort of starter energy, the self-starter, and the assertiveness. This is also kind of the energy of the new moon, like lay seeds and set intentions for things that you just want to happen. Basically, you don't have to execute something overnight. You can just determine that, you know, you want to start a new hobby, or you want to spring clean, or you have wanted to find certain goals for yourself this year. You have a lot of the I guess planetary support at the moment, and that's what astrology is, you know. It's understanding that time has a qualitative purpose too, and that you know, it's no coincidence that Aries season begins with vernal equinox. Whether you're in the northern or summer or southern hemisphere, this is still going to be a shift in the season for you. And so we're starting to move alongside nature at this time. So of course, like Aries and Mars is ruling this new moon in Aries because Mars rules Aries. So this is the warrior archetype. And I guess we're being invited to really look at Aries energy in our life. Of course, on this new moon, because it's such a potent Aries energy with that 5-planet stellium in Aries at the moment. But there's something else that's really special about new beginning and new chapter energy in our life right now. The next new moon that's falling consecutively after this one in almost a month's time is also in Aries. That's very rare, and that's because the next new moon on April 20th after today's is a solar eclipse new moon. So this is just going to be really important when we talk through house by house where the new chapter for you in your life is beginning. We will get to that in just a few moments. But as I talk about the warrior energy, I mean, everything by the laws of the universe and our natural laws has a duality. So, I mean, the higher octave of Mars and warrior energy and that spirit is, of course, having the courage to achieve your goals, the courage to put yourself out there as an autonomous human being with full of authenticity, right? Fighting for what you believe in, advocacy, fighting and standing up into your own truest personal power through love, of course. I mean, we just have so much violence as well on the lower octave or the shadow of this warrior energy. I mean, you don't have to look very far, do you, to see that there is an agenda to divide, which is Mars is divisive. So that could be an energy we would be liable to slip into, you know. You just have to open a newspaper, you just have to go on social media to see this. It really doesn't take too much to figure that out. And we have been on a round and round we go with the war narrative for millennia now. And we may not realize how much personal power we have as human beings and the collective involvement in navigating and co-creating a divine future for generations to come. And the reason that there is such an opportunity to do so now at this point in time is because in just a few days, Pluto, outer planet of overhaul and transformation, is moving into the sign of Aquarius. Oh, I should tell you what I'm doing next, I guess. This is Charlotte Tilbury. It's like a Hollywood flawless filter, I believe. The marking and packaging has gone. It's number 3 pale or fair. Oh, wrong one. Okay, so, oh yeah, so we haven't seen planet Pluto enter Aquarius since the 18th century. So that was like a time of societal reconstruction. And Pluto will enter Aquarius and spend about 15 to 20 years in that sign From the 24th of March onwards, that's when it begins its initial transit, moving back and forth, but that's just not really relevant right now. So we're living through a paradigm shift, you guys. So it's important not to play small, to remember that you have an active role to play in the paradigm shift. As old structures crumble, new ones are beginning to be formed. And like, it is an initial spark with this Aries new moon. It's that lighting of a match and that velocity, I guess, from an unlit match. I actually have some, I just like, that would be so badass. Watch this not working. The velocity of an unlit match, to just like how quickly that ignites. Yes, it could happen like that. I mean, it happened in a sense in 2008 when Pluto entered Capricorn for the first time in 250 years. We remember what happened in 2008. It didn't happen overnight, but you know, there was a globally recognized financial crisis and recession. That's not a surprise. Pluto, what it will do basically, in our own birth charts, it's the slowest moving navigator. So it really is the undercurrent of our soul's evolutional journey through the lifetime that we're in now. It marks the whole process from start to ending of this lifetime, but really slowly it moves. You know, Pluto transits can be like years at a time you go through them. But on the collective level, it spends a really long time in each sign. Like, it was in Capricorn for 15 years from 2008. So it's going to basically highlight and signify the themes of each sign it transits through. Likewise, it will activate and signify the house in your own birth chart that it transits through at a certain time. But for the collective, Capricorn, I guess, signifies big businesses, right? It's top-down authority. So we're thinking government structures, we're thinking big, massive industries and corporations. We're thinking certain complexes that exist and really have a lot of perceived control over the collective as such. And I mean, we saw big banking, we saw some of the issues with that in 2008. We're seeing certain issues like that now. And I guess Pluto transiting through Capricorn lately and has been here to show us how powerful these themes of Capricorn and these archetypes that I've described that are associated with Capricorn can be. But then Pluto always will show the sort of underbelly, the dark side, the toxicity of the archetype too. It shows you the full spectrum, that duality of the natural universe. And I guess I don't have to tell you either that what we've been seeing in the collective as Pluto has transited through Capricorn, we're certainly seeing the underbelly of corruption and things like that. And that brings me back to the divisiveness of this, the possibility of this new moon being divisive, and how we as Aries archetypes, we all have Aries in our birth chart, how we say, well, no, I can choose, I have more power, I have more autonomy, I have more of a say in how I choose to live my life and perceive reality and things like that. And I talk about like perception and stuff like that because the three outer planets, which are very much to do with our consciousness here, Pluto is the collective unconscious, right? That primordial state of existence that we're all animals at the baseline. So Neptune, transcendental Neptune, is the collective subconscious, our interconnectedness on a energetic level that we are actually all one. And Uranus is the collective consciousness. So everything we think, everything we digest, everything that we hear about, listen to, believe in, conversate about, muse over, that's all part of the collective consciousness. So these three planets are involved in this week's astrological weather. On the day today of the Aries new moon, it makes a semi-square to Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is that collective consciousness planet. It's the sky god. It's very radical, very awakening, very progressive, very liberating. So we're seeing global awakenings and kind of considering things from other points of view. We are just really seeing like an Aquarian age unfold, I suppose. Pluto enters Aquarius in just a few days. Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius, so that being activated in today's moon is just like, okay, this is the new paradigm. Like, what's coming up? There's going to be many advancements made in technology and science and AI and things like that as Pluto moves through Aquarius. But my prediction will also be that Pluto will eventually, it may take 20 years, but it will begin to show the corrupt underbelly and perhaps how that does not serve humanity after all, or where it does not serve humanity. Certain aspects of course will, and just how certain aspects of Pluto transiting through Capricorn, the power dynamics that rose were serving humanity to a certain point, but we also were able to collectively become aware of where they were not serving humanity. As well as that, this Aries new moon today makes an outer sign conjunction to Neptune in Pisces. Neptune is transcendental, but it also is on its highest octave, unconditional love, oneness. We are all walking each other home. And then on the shadow element, a little more deception and delusion, which speaks to global mass delusions of certain points on certain issues, I suppose. And you know, that's just how important this new moon is today. And I, like many other astrologers, don't recommend manifesting on an eclipse. So that's why I take this opportunity to manifest today, tomorrow, over the next couple of days, something that you want to start a new chapter in your life. Like this could be a brand new way of living, a new job, a new goal, a new hobby, anything it is that you just want to happen this year. This is the time to do it, okay? Because the next new moon, like I said, on April 20th, in about a month's time, is also in Aries, a very initiating sign, but it's an eclipse. And eclipses pertain to destiny in astrology. It's already, in a sense, written around eclipses. So I prescribe to that belief. That's why I personally like to take a step back and surrender and just let things unfold and see what comes up for me without my involvement, without my pushing or forcing, so that I know that in some way it's written for me or fated for me. I'm just going to put a little bit of lip balm on. This was a recommendation from my friend Aquaphor. It's actually a healing ointment, but it's the best thing for your lips I've ever found in terms of like any dryness. It's an ointment rather than anything made for your lips, but it works really well. Like, you know, it's such cold weather here at the moment, so you need some sort of, you need to lube these babies up with something, and you don't want something, I guess, that takes away the natural moisture. Look at me sounding like an absolute pro, but that's just what my friend told me who recommended that product. And she's a Libra, so I guess she knows what she's talking about in terms of beauty bits. So I trust. When I was writing these notes actually in the coffee shop that I was in, there was a Florence and the Machine song that came on, The Dog Days Are Over, and basically the lyric in that was like, I've always been a big Florence and the Machine fan. She is just fabulous, I think. Virgo, I believe. I wondered, does she have some Aries in her chart? I should have checked before, but look, lo and behold. It was the song The Dog Days Are Over, and the lyric that particularly stood out to me was, run fast for your mother, run fast for your father, run for your children, for your sisters and your brothers. And then it's like real hype, like the dog days are over. I just feel like, yeah, the dog days are over, we're just beginning. But that lyric stood out to me because to me that was very much like, yeah, it's not just about you, Kate. You have a responsibility, and Aries is a responsibility to lead. Aries is a responsibility to act in a way that I would be proud of in these times, on this timeline. What do you think? Like, this is an extraordinary timeline, right? It is extraordinary. Things are unfolding at such a rapid pace, and that is hard to ignore. And as things unfold and crumble and the old paradigm dies down, what does not serve us? Come on, like, we know what doesn't serve us. We know what does serve humanity and what does not. And we can turn a blind eye for sure, but ultimately you want to be able, I think, to say, this was the part and role that I played during this time. And whatever that may be, for me, that lyric stuck with me, because for me personally, I was like, okay, so I want to be somebody that I would make my ancestors proud of. And they've laid the foundations for how far we've gotten on the collective journey in terms of our conscious evolution, or evolution of consciousness, I should say. And as well as that, like, run for your children, for your sisters and your brothers. Yes, I want to leave the world in a better place that I found it. Is that kind of idealistic Piscean of me? Yeah, and is that a crime? No. Like, this is what I think my heart is desiring, and I want to share that with you guys. So this new moon is a time to get off the round and round and round, looking back to things that don't serve us anymore, haven't in so long. Yeah, it's scary to kind of go into the unknown and be like, well, this is all we know, like how do we create a new? But that's what Pluto in Aquarius is here to show us on one timeline, and then there's going to be a timeline that are going to favor a more technocratic society, and that's perfectly fine. That's how it should be. Everything should always be balanced. But I personally, I'm just feeling like veering towards a different direction, I think. And I really look forward to co-creating something that seems like more love-based rather than fear-based, I think is the main thing that I'm into at this time. So should we pull a tarot card first for the collective and then get into the house by house where this new moon is falling in your rising sign? I think so. So a free sample I got at Sephora for my birthday the other day. Look at me shamelessly plugging my birthday, Ilya. So yeah, I'm a Pisces, but I do have some of that strong Aries flavor. My chart ruler is Venus. I'm a Libra Rising. So Venus is in Aries for me. It's an important place. God, you kind of look mad doing these videos. Oh, well, wait till we get to my eyeshadow. Should be an absolute laugh. Like, it's just, I don't have any good techniques or whatever. But no, this is pretty nice. Got this in a free birthday gift in Sephora. Ilya. It's called At Last Multi-Stick. What I was buying in Sephora to get my gift. Well, but they were like, oh, you don't have to buy anything to get a birthday gift. I was like, oh, right, okay. But I didn't know that, but I bought this stunning palette by Pat McGrath Labs. It's actually called Ritualistic Rose, which I was like, perfect. I'm going to put it on and talk about my new rune ritual while I'm just surrounded by roses. I'm like, thanks for this perfect sync. And this is it. It's, I don't know how well you can, oh, you definitely can't see it there, but it's just really super pigmented pinks and purples. Gorge. Okay, so let's pull a tarot card for the collective. Let me just put on a little color on my lips. I just feel like that it's good to have a bit of color on your lips when you're doing your makeup, so that I think if I had one, I think I look better with color on my lips is what I'm trying to say. And if I had one beauty product to have only ever, it would always just be a lip tint or something like that. Like, that's the only thing that I think is a must-have for my face, or how I like to see my face at least. It used to be mascara for me, but that's because I was grew up with a trend that just rubbing concealer all over your lips was a vibe. Very strange, very strange. But anyway, let's pull a tarot card for the collective and see what the energies of this new moon in Aries is for us. Jupiter here, I just want to rephrase that, like, so this is why it's so many clear indicators for us to manifest. And look, don't get me wrong, it's not like a lovey-dovey, light and breezy new moon. It's not. It's Mars ruled. Mars is the planet of aggression at times, but that's okay to channel any anger and aggression into a different format. It's called alchemy. You are the magician, let's just say. So that's totally fine. Like, make something beautiful with that rage. You know, energy can't be created or destroyed. Isn't this the line? It can only be transmuted or transformed. I'm not going to take the card that flew out, but the Page of Swords. I got this on my Patreon yesterday, would you believe? I'll link that below if you want to sign up. I always post there. But I got the Page of Swords yesterday on my Patreon, and I had said my message I shared with Patreon was, write down your manifestations. The Page of Swords is a communicator, and say them before you go to bed, like kind of write down your intentions for this new moon. We haven't got to that part in this video yet, but I shared that information when it came up with my patrons yesterday. But let's get back to, oh yeah, so basically I'm saying, like, it's not a light and fluffy new moon. Uranus semi-square there. I mean, the Neptune conjunction to this new moon, the out of sign conjunction, makes this a little bit more loving, a hell of a lot more loving, in fact. But we're stepping into our personal power, Mars, Aries, new moon, through love, through embodying love, Neptune. There's such a, in my opinion, lower octave of Mars at play now to the divisiveness. And that's something that we can choose which end of the spectrum or where on the spectrum we fall. energetically. That is our choice, and that's what this new moon is teaching us to remember. Like, you've got a more of an active role to play, and that is there like Aries is known as an archetypally selfish sign. No shade, like I'm just after giving my Aries credentials, like I have a lot of that energy within me, but it is inherently more selfish just by its archetypal nature. I'm not talking about people with this sign placement, and I think that you can be selfish if you want and just be like, oh, there's nothing I can do. What's the point? Well, where's your bravery? Aries New Moon is asking, Mars is asking, where is your goddamn courage? Okay, so let's pull a card for this new moon in Aries for the collective. Thanks for watching so far, you guys. Subscribe to this channel if you like. Ooh, this is going to be a long video, I guess. I am only going to say a sentence or two about each of the houses, because I think it's even a complicated task without a diagram or something to show. I'm just quite a visual learner, I suppose. Like, that's the Aries Mercury, right? I'm just like, what are you talking about now? I thought you were pulling a card. The Nine of Pentacles. So the Nine of Pentacles is a lot of abundance, but it's standing on your own 2 feet. Oh, it's success and independence. Watch it, I'm sorry about that. It's success and independence. It's being proud of your accomplishments, and it's actually being, very much making it on your own. In the card that comes after this, the Ten of Pentacles, we see the complete harvest, right? Like, I mean, this person has a harvest, no doubt. But we see the complete manifestation of the harvest. It's been shared, it spans generations, it's ancestral kind of. But this is about the spiritual part of that journey. We haven't shared that harvest yet, but we've made it. So from a spiritual point of view, the lesson has already been learned. The next part in the 10 is almost like the egoic expression of it, like, yes, this is what I have now, like, well done me. But on a spiritual level, this person has already realized that they themselves are the infinite resource, and they can choose to merge themselves as an infinite source of abundance and self-sustainability. And I can merge this with the collective and share it, and that's just a beautiful act of service. So this is about being of service, but tending to your own needs. It very much reminds me of, well, I can't, serve others unless I've served myself. And that's why they ask us to make sure we put our own oxygen masks on before attending to anybody else. That's not selfish. That's so that we can be of use to other people. Because if we're not of use at all, like to ourselves, then we're not going to be able to be of service to others and aid others. Okay, I really like the Nine of Pentacles. Look, more mundanely, this is a very abundant and blessed card, so I'm not mad about seeing this for us guys, for the collective. I love it. Let's get into those sign by sign situations now, starting with Aries Rising. And I'm going to just put a little base of this Naked Urban Decay Wild West palette. So Aries Rising, your new moon in Aries today is falling in your Aries first house. The rising house is typically the first house. It is, at least with whole sign houses. And I should just preface, I'm using whole sign houses. I think I may have said that actually already. So, I mean, Aries Rising, this rules your appearance. So maybe you get a tattoo. Mars also associated with needles. I don't know, you do something drastic with your look. You decide over the next month basically to switch something up with your physical appearance. You could also though be setting goals around the kind of experiences you wish to have in this lifetime, but especially starting now over the next month. Like, what are the kind of experiences you want to have? The first house, the rising sign house, is how the lens in which we have our lifetime's worth of experiences. So Aries Rising, it's like you have all your experiences in this lifetime through the lens of an Aries in some way, or the kind of values that an Aries has. So having a sense of independence is really important for you. But I guess this is about you deciding or initiating a step out of your comfort zone and a really brave step out into a new beginning, a new chapter in your whole own life. Like, the first house new moons are really one of the most important of any of the houses, because it's angular, so it's more impactful, but also it's just about you starting more of a significant new chapter in your life overall. Gemini Rising. So this new moon is falling in your 12th house. The 12th house is associated with secrets, okay? So maybe there's an intensity around something that you've been keeping a secret. And perhaps with Mars, you feel the bravery to even share this secret or to move along with something to do with it or to come to terms with something. There is also something about battling Mars, your demons in the 12th house and winning. And it's just like a very strong indicator for starting a new chapter in terms of Taurus Rising, in terms of like, I suppose, overcoming certain mental health blocks, or even just coming to terms with and accepting certain mental health issues that you're going through right now. But it's a new moon and it's a way to turn a corner, I think, and start a new chapter. Like, it is a very meditative house, but usually it is. But with Mars ruled new moon in Aries here, I'm thinking like more power yoga than yin yoga will be a good approach. I mean, prayer, chanting, primal screaming in the woods, all of the above. I'm here for it. So Gemini Rising, this is happening in your 11th house of groups and social circles and friends. So it's a competitive new moon. Mars likes to compete. Are you involved in anything competitively? Sports clubs, any sort of teams or associations? Is it more of an intellectual warrior that you find yourself being? Maybe that looks like a debate club. But this also could just look like a really riveting experience with a group of friends. Everyone's chatting about their goals. Everybody's hyped up and pumped up for new beginnings in their life. And you see that as being part of a group around this new moon. Or maybe you are part of a group, a team, a society, a club, and you guys are all sharing a goal or a mission. If you haven't really found your soul tribe, so to speak, this is a really good and positive new moon to manifest a soul tribe within and find your people. Cancer Rising, your new moon in Aries is falling in your 10th house of career. This is the most public part of your chart, and it's an angular house, so this is a very significant new moon for you, Cancer Rising. This is a seriously good time to set goals around your long-term career or goals that you want to see happen and materialize really quickly for you in terms of your calling, your professional world, and how you're recognized. If there's something about your reputation that you want seen or you want to start to do, and it will be something about what you become known for, now is a really powerful time to plant those seeds. If you're in a semi-permanent position and you want to become permanent, this is a time to focus your attention towards making that happen. Okay, great time for career and visibility and reputation and fighting for what you want and asserting yourself on the career ladder, I think. And if career just means to you something like caring for somebody or depending what it is, being a parent, it's just about you putting some focus towards what kind of achievements and goals you want to have there in that realm. So Leo Rising, this Aries new moon is happening in your 9th house of philosophy, of cross-culture experiences, of seeing the world, of bucket list experiences. This rules university and colleges and any kind of higher education. You could be setting goals towards obtaining a degree or a diploma or a certificate. You could be writing a thesis. You could be publishing a piece of literature. You could be publishing a book or any kind of essay. This is about your experience, your take on the world. How do you find your experience? Like, we want to hear from you, Leo Rising. This could be about where you stand in the world right now. Like, where do you find yourself? What's amazing about this place? Where do you want to go? Where have you not seen yet? You're starting to envision plans for the future. Make those travel plans, make it a bucket list experience, make it once in a lifetime. Set that goal and make it happen for yourself. This is a really powerful time to do so. You may actually find yourself somewhere pretty cool in the world around the start or around the end of March and for the rest of this month. Then we move on to Virgo Rising. Virgo Rising, this is happening in your 8th house of shared resources, intimacy, and psychological death rebirth cycles. So a partner of yours, and could be a business partner, could be husband, wife, spouse, long-term partner, their life is being benefited. So therefore your life is being benefited because you are in a shared resource with somebody. Or if you are married or have a business with somebody, you're both going to benefit from things that you lay down and set intentions around achieving around this time of the end of March and all the way through really for the next few weeks until that next Aries new moon solar eclipse on April 20th. So this is also a really sexy time because Mars is the planet of libido and sex. This is going to be coming up for people that are seeking to develop greater intimacy, or I guess initiate something new in terms of intimacy and the merging of your souls, the merging of the physical body and everything that goes with that. It's an exciting time for that. It's also an exciting time for sexual healing as well. This is a very good time to basically get, if the 12th house was battling your demons and winning, this is a good time for you guys with Virgo rising in the 8th house to kind of make friends with your demons and have them be part of your experience and sort of see them and give some visibility there to your demons, I think, embracing them more so. Purging and detoxification is coming up for Virgo rising. Of course, this can be the physical body, but I think it's more so of psychological hang-ups. That could be really a powerful time to be brave enough and have the determination with this Mars-ruled Aries new moon to follow through with any of these intentions. Libra rising, this is falling in our 7th house of relationships. This is business partnerships, marriage, and close best friends. Anyone that we've signed a contract with on some level. That could be even a soul contract. So we see our soulmates here of all various shapes and forms. So the 7th house, this could be setting intentions and goals around shared interests. So what do you want to achieve as a couple? What do you want to achieve as a business partnership? What are your shared goals? And do you want to collaborate with anybody? Is there a person you have in mind that you wish to collaborate with? Or are you just seeking to find like-minded collaborators, investors, people to work in a close one-to-one dynamic with? Now is the time to start to manifest and focus your attention towards making that happen. If you're single and looking for something more long-term or committed, well, this is a good time to visualize that ideal partner, what you want and what you don't want. But I typically find that 7th house relationships start in the 5th house, which is something that's going to be a little more appropriate for Sagittarius rising. However, this is still no harm to kind of manifest around this area of life at this time for Libra rising. All right, we have Scorpio rising next, and this new moon in Aries is falling in your 6th house, which rules daily routine and work and colleagues and the physical body and the physical health. Our gym routine, our coffee in the morning, our go to work, our come home to work, our grocery shop. This is all 6th house. So this new moon is giving you an opportunity to create new patterns here, new habits here, healthy, sustainable, and kind of highest and best serving habits for you. This could be where you refine a perfect day-to-day or week-to-week routine for yourself. This could be a time where you start a new job or consider where you would like to work. This could be a time where you're starting to hand out CVs or resumes to try and get hired somewhere. But it's also a brilliant time for you to take up something physical around your body. You have more strength and determination because Mars rules the physical strength and things like that, as well as Pluto ruling strength, I suppose. But Mars is about our movements and our actions and things like that. So you could get into, like, I don't know, some sort of martial arts at this time, or just something that really promotes health and fitness for you and pushing your body to the limit. We have Sagittarius rising and this new moon happening in the 5th house of creative self-expression, children, joy, dating, romance, and hobbies. It's a great time to start a new hobby. It's a great time to make plans to have more fun in your day-to-day world, a time to let your hair down. This is a time to initiate dating if you want to start going on dates more with your significant other, or perhaps if you're single, you're trying to find somebody that you'd be interested in dating. This is a wonderful time to get yourself out there and create new storylines in terms of your dating reality. This could be a time for those who are initiating having children to kind of think about a family planning and where that fits in your life. The 5th house rules any kind of creative self-expression and children. So then we have Capricorn Rising. Capricorn Rising, this is happening in your 4th house of home and living situation, ancestry, those 4 walls that you live in right now, as well as where you come from, as well as anything domesticated and your very private inner world. Another cardinal house, the 4th house, this is a very significant new moon for Capricorn risings. So you may be initiating renovation, spring cleaning is a really good one to start with around this Aries new moon. You're basically clearing out old to make way for new in terms of your fourth house area of life. This could be creating new patterns and new storylines and new beliefs around the family line. You may be beginning to create a new story and a new narrative around what your family world looks like. It's really important to do that. We can often find ourselves like, you know, certain things saying like, oh, my family is this, my family is that. Why not create a new narrative? My family always wants the best for one another. It's about manifesting, and it's about seeing things and your reality shifting right before your very eyes. Of course, you don't want to delude yourself, but there's going to be positives and negatives in almost any situation. If we look hard enough, we can find either one of those. So Aquarius Rising, this is happening in your third house of communication and information processing. So there's a real expanse around learning with Jupiter here. This is also going to be a really positive time from now until really a month until that solar eclipse new moon in Aries, and then it's like, you know, fate just comes in and sort of continues working in this area. But now you're laying the groundwork and you're planting those seeds around the vernal equinox. So Aries new moon ruled by Mars is all about like bravely speaking your truth, being more courageous with your communication, and initiating kind of new hobbies, starting new books, starting new series, starting new ways of looking at information, new techniques around eliminating what kind of information doesn't serve you as well. But it's about communicating more authentically and striving to do so. Finally, Pisces Rising, with your second house of income, self-worth and assets being lit up by this Aries new moon flavor. So of course, this is going to be a wonderful time to assert yourself, Pisces Rising. Assert yourself in your current job. If that's your source of income, put yourself out there. This would be a time where I would advise like go for a job that you deem out of your league, because you've got a lot of courage with this Mars ruled Aries new moon, because it's like you can make anything happen. And this is also about self-worth. I mean, this is about money. So of course, this is a great time to set, like we saw our Nine of Pentacles, set those financial goals for the foreseeable future. This is a great time to focus on that, Pisces Rising. But the second house is on an emotional and psychological level, really about self-worth and self-esteem and how you sort of see yourself as this infinite resource just by being you, right? Because it's about convincing yourself of the truth that you will always be provided for and that we set up certain limitations there. So this could be about like, you know, really making an effort to continue to see yourself as somebody who is worthy and deserving of a continuous flow of at least material and security, abundance in your life. Okay. So that is the run through of the houses, each rising sign. Whew, I think I just need to get a bottle of water. That was a lot of talking, clearly. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about how I manifest on a new moon and kind of talk a bit about my particular ritual I would do. Okay. So let me think about this. Excuse me. Yeah, okay. So new moons are a time of planting seeds. Let me get back to my makeup. I'm going to start putting on this gorgeous like palette of pinks and purples. And like I said, this is just like a joke because I just plonk it all over, honestly. I don't really have a technique. So new moons will be more about manifesting, whereas full moons are more of a time of release. This is not strictly speaking by any means, okay? Both of the lunation cycles share the commonality that it's a more potent transit, let's say, than just a regular moon transit. Like the moon transit's around 2.5 days through each sign, like, so it's like always kind of a fleeting sensation. But with new and full moons, there's a little more potency there. So that's why people who practice lunar magic will kind of take advantage of that, because to be living in alignment is to be living in accordance with your birth chart, basically. Okay, so then like eclipses are obviously hyper focused new and full moons. And that's why I personally don't really manifest on them. And many other astrologers will advise. Some will advise to do it though. So figure out what's best for you. So then, yeah, basically the reason that this has any power behind it is because we have power behind us. And we haven't always been taught to believe that we have more personal power than what we kind of ordinarily would seem to think. So there's a lot to do with lunar magic and any kind of magic. It's about intention. That's like the main ingredient. Intention, and I would believe, like believing that has already happened like so strongly, like on an emotional and cellular level, that only through physics, I believe this is, I mean, I'm butchering and paraphrasing an Einstein quote here, but it is only physics then that it would eventually, that energy would eventually manifest on the physical, because everything is energy, like it or not. I mean, that's just quantum science. I'm probably butchering what he's trying to say, what Einstein was trying to say, but it's like, if you set your frequency, and how we set our frequency is on an emotional cellular level, and it definitely on a brain level too. I mean, there's settings that we can rewire in our brain, but that is also more like, that's less to do, I would say, around like actual physical biology, and more so to do with like mindset. But once you have convinced yourself of something happening that you desire so strongly, then it will eventually manifest on the physical, because that energy has to manifest somewhere. It may not be exactly the same. And for this point, actually, you can manifest things that you probably don't want to happen too, if you give them enough focus. And if you are, you know, if you think about things that you don't want to happen, you feel that on an emotional level, you feel anxious, you feel fearful. Like that's a very real frequency that you are embodying and putting out there. So like meets like, and you will only attract things on that frequency. They may not be exactly what you thought about, like your fear, your anxiety. It may not unfold exactly like that, but it will be of the same quality. So that's all it is. It's like, set the intention. So this is what I'll do. I will set up my altar space first and foremost. Now, altar. Is it an actual altar? I wish. It's usually a windowsill, because I recommend using a desk. I recommend using a bedside locker, a table, an altar if you have one. I use a windowsill in this room because I can't really I like to leave my altar set like 24/7, and I'll just add and take away from it as I use it, like as it's relevant. But I can't, like, you know, I live with my fiance, so I can't just be leaving my altar all over this desk where he uses as well. That just wouldn't be really fair. So what I'll do is I'll set my altar as a windowsill right in front of me. Here I have it, and I'll always have a symbol for each element. I use tarot cards. Like I'll have a Queen of Pentacles, a Queen of Wands, a Queen of Cups, and a Queen of Swords, just to represent an internal manifestation of of each of the elements: earth, fire, water, and air. And just so the magic is nicely balanced. Another few things like I like putting on my altar are photographs, sort of important symbols to me that represent like turning points in my life. Or what else do I have? I have things of a nature that feel valuable to me, that feel magical to me. I also like to keep a stone or crystal representing each chakra, just so that I am reminded to keep those chakras are like swirling pools of energy within our body, to keep those flowing and moving rather than blocked. So that just helps me set the scene, basically. I set my scene, I set the stage, I create my altar. I like to try and incorporate something from the god of the ruler of the moon, let's say. Like this is Roman god of war Mars. So I may use something red on the altar. I may use some red wine. I probably won't, I don't have it. But something like that, like I'll use something of that nature. Like for Saturn, Kronos, the god, I'll probably put a little timepiece or a clock or something like that. So it's just about intention and of finding a way to connect to the archetype. It sounds pretty woo-woo, and you know what, it is, but I ask my guides and my angels to flood my world with magic every day. And I mean, look at me, Lord of the Rings t-shirt. I've always been like this. This is not a new thing for me. I've been like this since day dot. And it's always been just something that I love having as part of my world. I don't think that it is harmful. I think it's just, I think our ancestors would be like, yes, she realizes, like just cheering us on, like just visualizing us walking in our bliss and just walking in paradise. I just love that idea. I love that meditation. Let's get back to where I was at. So I'll set my scene. Then I will cleanse my space. I'll take a seat. I use typically Palo Santo. For this particular new moon today, I'm using this Akita Strength, Courage, Perseverance, and Victory. It's a little, it's kind of like a sort of mix of sea salts and charcoal and different, like a magical incense, I guess. My friend bought it from the House of Intuition for me. That's based in Los Angeles, but I know they can get stuff online. So this is like a very Aries new moon, sort of a particular magical incense. So for that reason, I'll use it, but anything is fine, okay? Charcoal, Palo Santo, sage. I mean, now you have to say caveat, ethically sourced sage, which, you know what, I'm actually not going to be caveating anything I say with a layer of virtue signaling. That's one of my Aries new moon mission statements, because I know my own heart and I don't need to convince anybody else. I think that that's a nice approach to take, because for me, virtue signaling and just like caveating everything you say by saying like, I don't think this, but like, we can just talk. We can talk about things. And if you know your own heart, then it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, because everyone's going to be misinterpreting everybody. So it's fine. Anyway, so then I will cleanse my space. Always open a window would be my recommendation, so that you're not just cleansing your space and the aim is to remove negative or unwanted energies. Well, they're just circulating then. You want to get them out the window. My old business studies teacher for me in first year in high school or secondary school, Mr. Flanagan, he was like, close the windows. The education is flying out the windows. I'll always remember him saying that. I'm like, we need to air up this bitch. No, but it was probably freezing in fairness in Ireland. So good call, Mr. Flanagan. Okay, so you want to cleanse your space, and then like, look, whatever you prescribe to, angels, higher self, guides, spirit guides, call them in, ask them to be present with you. I mean, I think that this is a really helpful thing to do quite regularly. I do it every single day. Like, I'll pray every day. I will give thanks every day. I will ask for protection for myself and my loved ones every day, and blessings and strength and whatever I need at that time. And I always feel supported. Like, it's just important for me to do that. I sort of deal with the public every day. Like, I meet hundreds of people every day when I work in my line of work, and I'm on a subway in Manhattan with people, like hundreds and hundreds of people every day. Like, I think it's important to protect my energy. So like, I'll imagine myself in just like a golden bubble of light when I'm on the subway, and just meditate so that I'm just confining and protecting my own energy within myself. And then I don't feel like nasty spiritually when I get off the subway. I just feel like I'm in my own world in a sense. So that's cool. Like, that's what I do. I set my altar up. I cleanse my space. Then I sit down and call in my guides. I ask them to be present with me as I set intentions and perform this ritual. I ask for myself to open up my channel, open up my third eye. And when we open up our third eye, it's something that we do over time, but when it's opened, and you want to protect that, because you're basically opening yourself up to being able to see things in a different way. And on that, like, astral plane, you are, liable to have other frequencies permeate your aura, okay? So it's always important to ask for, if you're doing any kind of channeling work, like when I read tarot cards, I'll always ask for psychic protection from my guides and angels, just so that I'm only channeling from sources that are supportive of what's in highest and best for myself and the client, of course, very importantly. But in any kind of a ritual, I will call in protection, guidance, and safety. And that, I believe our guides are only too happy to assist. So with that being done, and maybe I have a little bit of a brain freeze, I'm not sure what I want to manifest or what I want to release. If that's the case, I'll start with pulling a tarot card, guides. Where would be the highest and best for me to begin putting my focus towards manifesting? Say I got the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, I would know then that it's something to do with a goal around sustainability or work or resources or creating some sort of an independence for myself and security for myself. So that's what I would start to think about. As well as that, like I went through the house by house for you guys, the, you know, where this is falling, I'll always manifest around the house that this new moon is in, because that's what's happening. You're living in alignment with your birth chart. As that part of your birth chart is being activated by a transiting celestial body, you're giving the opportunity to work with the archetypal energy of that. You don't have to. It doesn't matter if you don't. It will manifest somehow in your life, but the more attuned you are to it, the more you can be aware of, oh, that must be it, like that makes sense. Use your intuition. So for me, Libra Rising, this is in my 7th house of romantic partnerships, marriage, business partnerships, contracts, and close one-to-one dynamics. I'll set some goals around the kind of dynamics I want to be a part of, the kind of business partnerships I want to have, the kind of relationship goals I want to set. That's what my endeavor will be. So after that, I mean, I just sit with that. I sit with my intentions. I feel them on a cellular level. I visualize where I'll be when that happens, how it will feel. It's more important to sort of like let it sink in, because to your body, it's about embodiment, and it's less, you know, visualization is really important, but it's more about an acceptance of that reality on an emotional, psychological, and vibrational level. So you want to, like, if you feel like this would make you feel really peaceful, you want to just sort of sink into the feeling of peace or the frequency of peace, and then create it visually for yourself. So that is just you basically created something in your consciousness, and then it's part of the collective consciousness, and then the collective subconsciousness. You put that out there on a vibrational level. Eventually that energy will have to go somewhere. It can't be destroyed, so it has to transmute into something physical. Typically, energy will finally manifest physically on the last stage of the manifestation, because physical is very dense, very 3D. So that's the last place it'll end up, okay, that we're aware of as human beings. And, you know, that's, you know, like that, an example of that would be, you know, you get ill, unfortunately, or people get ill in their life. Typically that can be the last point of the manifestation, the physical body. Typically illnesses and maladies can start on a mental, physical, spiritual, on a mental, spiritual, psychological, or emotional level, and then finally manifest on the physical in the most dense part where energy is stored. Okay, so that's kind of going on a side topic, but that's just an example. So that's just really about believing. So first step, set the scene, the altar. Second step, cleanse the space. Third step, call in your guides, your psychic protection, your angels, your highest self. Visualizing you as your highest self, like as light-bodied as possible. See it like that, as light-bodied as possible, but still recognizing that that is your essence. That's a really good channel to have. And then, you know, if you need some assistance, pull a tarot card, an oracle card, meditate, ask for some information from the Akashic records, or, well, always, I think, tune into your birth chart and figure out the area of life at least. It will help you just redefine or define and hone in your goals. Then I write things down. Physically, pen on paper. I have a notes section in this journal, wherever you may write it, pen and paper on your notes, and then keep that somewhere. Keep it in an envelope, keep it on your altar, keep it somewhere safe. Include like a little talisman of, I forgot to keep doing my makeup. I am shit at get ready with me. Anyway, and keep it on your altar. If you want, like, include your little talisman of some sort in the envelope, whatever you can fit. Like, for example, if you use red, use a red rose, put petals of your red rose into your envelope with your intentions. Before, you know, folding away and storing your intentions in a safe space, I recommend more or less reading them out loud, like many times. Do it over and over, read it out loud. And you know, if you want to sleep with this under your pillow for a while, if you want to keep it near your bed so that you can reread and reaffirm for the next few days, do it. Do whatever feels right for you. You just want to rewire your settings in your brain, in your cells, that this has already happened. And I will talk a little bit more about the full moon releasing, because releasing is just as important as initiating. It's about keeping that balance. And some of the questions that I got on my Instagram about this new moon were about how to manifest, which, I mean, I wish I had the answer, like how to manifest, but that's how I do it basically. And that's what works for me, at least in my opinion. Oh, you know, I didn't bring lipstick in here. Oh, did I not? Oh, well. A little lip liner, I guess, and some gloss. So yeah, that's what I would basically do, you guys. I love to do lunar magic. I fell out of the practice for a while, but then I saw it like quickly working for myself again. I was like, oh yeah, gotta get back into this. So why do we do all of this? And like, what is the purpose of trying to connect to your higher self? Like, why bother? Well, I don't know. I mean, I keep derailing. That I've kind of answered how to manifest. Other people ask me like how to cut ties and purge and toxic cycles and stuff like that. I will focus more on that in the next shorter it's a Libra full moon on April 6th. That's actually a really good time for cutting ties and certain energetic connections. Libra rules relationships. Okay, so I mean, I take this stuff very seriously, I suppose, and I'm passionate about it because I don't do this for like a pat on the back. Like, I've been told many times that my energy makes people feel good, that I usually leave interactions with people feeling good and knowing that they feel good and better. I work in hospitality. The service industry is so much more than providing service. There is a pleasure to serve without being in servitude. I have a Pisces 6th house sun, so I'm learning how to be of service without feeling in servitude. But you know, people who say on their resume when they apply for jobs, I'm a people person. Bitch, no you are not. I know people, and not everyone is a people person, so I take a lot of pride in being a true people person. Like, I like humanity. I don't hate people. Like, I love people. For the most part, actually for all of the parts, I love everybody, truly. So I'm not looking for a pat on the back for that or anything like that. I serve and do this because I know it's important. Like, there's a selfishness as to why I do this too. It's not for the good of everybody. I do this because I know it's important, because I know I have a responsibility to create a less divisive, more loving collective consciousness. We all have that role to play, guys. And I mean, like, that's why I do it, and it comes naturally to me. And I pride myself on making people feel good, having the kind of energy that makes people feel seen and loved and supported. Like, I'm learning as I go. Like, we all are learning, but the want to be a better person, that just shows that you are a good person. And there's just such a shame frequency in the collective. I mean, it's depending on where you grew up, like, there's such a shame frequency out there, and it's really hard to push past that and believe that you're a good person when you've been conditioned to think you're bad. And shame is just a really low vibrational frequency to find yourself in. And you know, it's everyone just has to, myself included, like, work to raise the vibe, man. So that's where I'm at on this journey. And that's why I just wanted to share that for whatever reason, I guess. Now, this is my makeup. I wish you could see the pigmentation of this eyeshadow. It's quite fabulous. Maybe if I go into the light. Oh, dear me, guys. No, not an option. But look, it's a fabulous, like, pinky kind of glittery. Thanks for watching this Get Ready with me. Thanks for listening to my thoughts that I shared about this new moon in Aries. It's a big month ahead in terms of starting new chapters in our life overall. Okay, guys, subscribe, share, comment. Let me know what you thought of all my shite talk. I'm sure there's people that are like, what? But I know. I mean, I didn't really prepare any of this. Just trying to keep it as authentic as possible in spirit, in pioneering Aries spirit. Mwah! Love ya. Bye.